Good morning and welcome to the reconvened meeting of the Vancouver City Council meeting of Friday, July 24th. This meeting is being convened by electronic means under the order of the Public Safety Minister, order number M192, and we're all participating by phone. If my connection is lost during the meeting, we'll recess until my connection is restored. If you lose your connection, we'll get you on back on as quickly as possible. But of course, if we're voting, then we'll pause the voting until you're back online. Just please make sure your video is enabled during the meeting so we can maintain quorum, and I may do occasional roll calls if we don't have enough video councillors showing on video. I want to acknowledge we're in the unceded territories of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations, and thank them for their generosity for all of us who live here. And thanks a lot to the staff who are doing great work during COVID and all the other times in the city. Go to the roll call, please, Clerk.
Yes, Mayor Stewart in the chair. Councillor Carr.
Here.
Councillor DiGenova. Councillor DiGenova. Councillor Fry.
Here.
Councillor Swanson.
Here.
Councillor Hardwick.
Present.
Councillor Weep.
Here.
Councillor Boyle.
Present.
Councillor Dominato. Councillor Dominato. Councillor Bly.
Present.
Councillor Kirby-Young.
Present.
The meeting has quorum, Mayor Stewart.
Thanks very much.
Point of privilege?
Yes,
Councillor
DiGenova.
Yes. My apologies. I am here. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. So the public is strongly urged to listen to the proceedings via the website and on YouTube and on Twitter. And the handle is @VanCityClerk. That'll give you updates on the progress of the meeting. You can send comments on agenda items using the web form, and that is also on Twitter @VanCityClerk. On Thursday, 23rd, we dealt with the following items: reports 5 and 6 and referral report 5. Today we have referral report 6 held for questions and subsequently debate and decision, 25 bylaws and 2 administrative motions, and administrative motion 3 has been withdrawn by staff. Council needs to adjourn by noon and break for lunch, and we're going to reconvene at 1 o'clock in the Standing Committee on Policy and Strategic Priorities meeting. So hopefully we can get through all this business by noon, break at noon from 12 till 1, and then reconvene in the Standing Committee on Policy and Strategic Priorities. And the fun doesn't stop there. We actually have a public hearing this evening as well from 6 till maybe 8 o'clock, but it's scheduled to go till 10. Council, I have a request for you. Yesterday, on a vote on one of the motions, I mistakenly did not vote the way I intended, so I'm hoping that you might allow me to correct my vote. I'd like to move a motion to reconsider a resolution adopted yesterday in order to correct this vote, and to move this motion, I'd like to relinquish the chair to Deputy Mayor Fry.
Gotcha. Thank you, Mayor. Do I have a motion to consider?
So moved. Councillor Kirby-Young.
Seconder?
I can second.
Okay. I believe this requires unanimous approval, but can I just get a yea or nay? All those in favor?
Pardon the interruption. Chair Fry?
Yep.
Was the mover of that motion Councillor Kirby-Young?
It was, yes. Moved by Councillor Kirby-Young, seconded by the Mayor.
We would require a different mover because for reconsideration, you had to have voted in the majority.
Right. I can move it then.
Yes.
I'll vote it. I'll move it. The Mayor here.
And that works, Chair Fry.
Okay. Thank you, Clerk. And do we need a seconder?
Yes, you require a seconder.
Councillor Weeb. Councillor Weeb, thank you. Okay, just a yay or nay. All in favor, say yay.
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 Opposed? Okay, so that reconsideration passes, and we are now, do we need to queue up the vote on screen, or looking for a little bit of guidance here? Thanks, Clerk.
Swanson, point of privilege.
Yes, Councillor Swanson.
Could we have the actual motion that we're voting on up on the screen, please?
Okay. We'll just give the clerk a moment to pull that up.
Point of privilege?
Yes, Councillor DiGenova.
If I could have that emailed as well, thank you.
And I think, Councillor Fry, this might, now that we've done the reconsideration vote, I think it passes back to me for the, if that's all right with you. Yep, because I have it scripted here.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. I just was going to confirm that, Mayor Stewart.
Great, thanks. So we're now going to consider the amended referral motion moved by Councillor Swanson and seconded by Councillor Fry, and the clerk has it on the screen.
And just a point of privilege, Mr. Mayor, has it been emailed?
We could ask the.
Thank you.
Pardon the interruption, Mayor Stewart. This is the clerk, and we're just preparing the email to send it out.
Great.
It is the clerk again, Mayor Stewart, and you all should have the email at this point, and it is on the screen.
Okay, great. So if there are no other points of privilege, I will call the vote on this.
Sorry, I don't see it yet. I'm not sure what we're voting on.
It is on your orange cone, Councillor.
Point of privilege?
Weeb. Point of privilege, Councillor DiGenova.
Mr. Mayor, if I could register my vote verbally in favor.
In favor? Okay.
Thank you.
Looking for clerks. Is Councillor Dominato not here? If so, can you mark her as absent? And Councillor Weeb, we need a vote from you.
So I can't look screens. Can you just verbally allow me to know which vote we're voting on?
Sure. It should have been emailed to you, and it is on the orange cone.
But it hasn't been said into the record at all. So what?
Sure, I will read it out.
Thank you.
Council referral report dated June 10th, 2020, entitled CD1 rezoning 949 West 41st Avenue and 5469 to 5507 Willow Street, in brackets Oak Ridge Transit Center, back to staff to try to find more housing affordability and ensure plans include measures to achieve climate emergency targets and report back by October 2020.
Sure. I'll be voting in favor.
Point of privilege?
Yes, Councillor DiGenova.
So DiGenova.
Yes, Councillor DiGenova.
Now that that's been clarified, and my apologies, but for reasons I just was able to read the email, so I will be registering my vote now that it's been read out in entirety in opposition.
Sure, but we have not finalized the vote yet, so you can change, and that's fine.
I can't. Well, exactly. But if you could please have the clerks mark me in opposition, thank you.
You are marked now in opposition, and Councillor Weeb, you still haven't had your vote. Do you need
Mayor, point of parliamentary procedure. Mayor.
Yes.
I didn't understand Councillor Dominato was on a leave of absence. Is this our process to conduct this vote without her present if she's possibly having a technical issue?
From my understanding, she has not attended the meeting at all from the beginning. So she hasn't available, but that is a good point. We can have the clerks check. Clerks, could you check to
point of privilege.
Just 1 second, please. I'm just going to deal with one at a time here, Councillor Kirby-Young. So I will.
It's relevant, Mr. Mayor. I had a note from Councillor Dominato. She'll be late this morning.
Okay, great. So she's not present at the moment, Councillor Fry.
Okay.
Thanks though for sticking up for people's rights. That's important. Councillor Weeb, did you need to vote assist?
I vote assist in favor.
In favor. Okay. Just wait for the clerks to do that. Okay, so everyone has voted, and that has passed with Councillor Kirby-Young, Councillor Boyle, Councillor Dejanova, and myself in opposition. And thank you very much, Council, for allowing me to correct my vote. Going back now, so we are now going to reports that were held. The referral report 6, CD1 rezoning at 601 Beach Crescent. On Tuesday, July 21st, Councillor Hardwick held this report for questions to staff. So, Councillor Hardwick, as you held it, I will put you on the queue, or you can put yourself on the queue. Let's see who gets there first. There we go for this, for asking questions to staff. And City Manager, do we have the staff available to answer questions on this issue? City Manager, you might be on mute.
Sorry, I had to hit the button there. Yeah, we do have staff available.
Great. Okay. Councillor Hardwick, are you
ready?
Yep.
Yes, I am.
Great. I'll start your timer. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Well, first and foremost on this property, is there or are there legal challenges outstanding on this property?
And just
that's probably a better conversation to have in camera.
Yes.
Well, I'm not asking to elaborate on it. I'm just asking for a yes/no.
I'm not sure if we can.
Those would be appropriate conversations for in camera, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, I think I can get you clarification from the clerk, Councillor Hardwick, but all HR or legal matters, whether they're of any nature, are required to be discussed in camera.
Well, the decision whether this is appropriate to bring forward to public hearing, refer to public hearing, would be influenced by that information.
Okay, but we can't answer it in this format because we would not want to jeopardize if a case is or is not pending. We wouldn't want to jeopardize the legal position of the city in any situation. So that's why these are in camera.
Indeed, but it does influence whether or not this should be coming forward to public hearing. Another question then, I note in the report that the city-owned property was sold for $20 million. Can you tell me what the current value of that property is?
This may also be something that we, if
should
it's
be a matter of public record through the assessment.
I understand.
Yeah, these are appropriate. That would be an appropriate question for a public hearing, not for a referral, Mr. Mayor.
Right. So again, we're not talking about the decision made here is whether or not to discuss the content of this application, not the actual content of the application itself.
Well, then we should move to refer this into an in-camera legal briefing instead of referring it to public hearing.
That is your right at any time to refer. You wouldn't refer it directly to, my understanding, clerks, is that this would only be referred back to staff. There would be no direction to in-camera if that's...
Privilege?
Just a second, Councillor Dejanova. Clerk, so in terms of referral, we can't refer directly to in-camera. It would have to be referred back to staff. I believe that's right.
Mayor Stewart, yes, this is a referral report from staff, so the option is to refer or not to refer, and that would be the referral to public hearing. However, right. If you wish to refer it back to staff, you may do so.
Okay, but it wouldn't be as specific, Councillor Hardwick, as a... Yes. Just let me finish. It wouldn't
if
be.
You could add me to the list for questions.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet for the questions. Right. Oh,
so
I understand.
we just referred. We just did a revoting on a referral back to staff on another file, so that is possible under the circumstances.
It just, if you're making a formal motion to that effect, and you could do so once this was referred, then I'm just advising that it wouldn't, just so you know, it would be just a general referral back to staff, and then the decision would be made as to whether, when it comes back to us, whether it's in camera or in public.
Okay, well, I'll be, just give me a couple of minutes for that referral.
Right, we're still in questions, so to staff, Councillor Dejanova, questions to staff.
Thanks so much, Mr. Mayor. My first question through you to staff is regarding any commitments of BC Housing or any involvement that they've had on this specific project, conversations with, on this specific address to date. I was wondering, had there been any discussions whatsoever about housing affordability or affordability for the units of housing that may be acquired that are to be considered social housing or non-market housing?
As with yesterday, so we have been presented with the text of this report to Council. There are things that additional questions you may have, you want to have for staff, Councillor Dejanova, but this decision here is whether or not to refer it to a location where we would have those conversations and not to discuss the contents of the report here. That's the regular referral report process, and so again, we wouldn't be. Yes, so.
Mr. Mayor, I completely understand, and I understand that there's a very narrow scope for referral. But if I do not feel that this has been done ahead for me to vote to be able to move forward and to referral without these questions being answered, and I understand that this is the right time in the process. Otherwise, we move forward with a process that very much is structured where I couldn't ask those questions until we got to public hearing. So I think that this is an appropriate question to ask, and if it's the wrong venue, then I would be happy to support a referral to hear those answers to my questions in the appropriate venue, be that a public meeting or in camera.
Right. Again, so referral reports, I will get back to you, Councillor Dejanova, but again, these reports are our only decision here is, do we send it to public hearing in order to ask deeper and more questions from the public so they can have their say and we can hear it and questions.
And that's why, Mr. Mayor,
Councillor Dejanova, I'm not finished here. But I am going to ask staff, with that, bearing that in mind, is there anything that you think you can appropriately say about this question from the councillor?
Mr. Mayor, this would be an appropriate discussion for the public hearing. We are obviously happy to discuss the affordability of the units and potential partnerships, but all of those would be most appropriate to discuss at a public hearing if it's referred.
Okay. Councillor Dejanova,
so point of information?
Sure, you can still ask questions to staff. That's the section we're in here, and you have 2 minutes.
Okay. I'm not sure why yesterday on the Oak Ridge Transit Center, there were questions that were able to be asked on housing affordability and what staff had done to date on that and working with partners. However, I cannot ask the same questions here today on this application. So I'm quite concerned.
I did try desperately yesterday at Councillor Dejanova to steer as many of those types of questions away from toward the more appropriate venue, which is the public hearing. So I'm beginning to think that the entire council needs a kind of a refresher on this, what we're doing here. It's like, if we want to talk about this in more detail,
Mr. Mayor,
refer to the public hearing.
This is my time, so I'll take myself off. If you could please take me off the queue, I'll leave it there, but I'm not confused. I just think the process needs to be the same for each and every item. So I'll leave it there, and I'm hoping that I heard another councillor might have a referral coming forward back to staff, and I'd be willing to support that at this time.
Okay, over to Councillor Swanson for questions. Councillor Swanson, questions to staff about the referral.
When we had a similar project with turnkey units, I made inquiries about the affordability of the turnkey units during the actual rezoning, not the referral. And I was told that that wasn't the proper place to do it. So now I'm wondering when is the proper place to make inquiries and take direction around the affordability of turnkey units.
Council, City Manager.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. At the public hearing, we can talk about the turnkey units, how they will be delivered, and how the levels of affordability will be determined. That's an appropriate conversation to have at the public hearing and after the public hearing, as it is the city's decision as to the levels of affordability as the project proceeds. It's not at the referral time that we would want to get into the conversation. We want to be able to have these types of conversations at a public hearing when the public can be there and be giving their input and participating.
And Councillor Swanson, I believe your question during the last public hearing, or the one that you're referring to, was about a policy issue, changing to policy, and it does in the public hearing have to be about that specific project. And I believe those policy determinations are made after the rezoning, when the city negotiates through the development permit process. So I believe that was the complication with that topic in the hearing to which you're referring.
Okay.
All right. Councillor Hardwick, you have a minute.
Yes, I've put in referral amendment.
Right, we're not quite there yet. We do have to have somebody refer this and second it in order to be active. So if you're willing to do that.
Point of parliamentary procedure?
Sure, Councillor Dejanova.
Mr. Mayor, I'm just wondering, does it need to be, I understand any motion can be moved, including a motion for referral. It doesn't necessarily have to be this motion moved. Is that correct?
Someone like to move a motion? That's what I'm asking for. Including
a referral motion?
My understanding that Councillor Hardwick wanted to move an amendment. I thought that's what I heard. So in order to move an amendment, you have to refer the original. You have to move the motion as presented in the report, and then that would be seconded, and then there would be debate, and during the debate portion, an amendment can be added. So that's as per usual. So, Councillor Hardwick, did you want to move this motion?
I characterized it as a amendment because that's what the clerk's email says. Amendments should be sent through this, but in fact, this is a motion that Council refers CD1 rezoning 601 Beach Avenue back to staff to ask questions in the appropriate venue prior to recommendations for referral. So in that case,
that's fine.
I can put that forward as a motion.
Yes, as a motion, right, and that is proper. I was confused. I thought you wanted to amend the motion as it stood in the report, but I understand it's really a kind of almost a strike and replace, or you're substituting your referral motion. Okay, great. So thanks. We've had that seconded, and now we're on the queue for debate. And again, councillors, just to say, it's about now we're debating referring this back to staff for more information.
Can I call the question?
Well, there's nobody on the queue at this point for a debate. So,
point of privilege, Mr. Mayor. I was hoping to go on the queue. I'm so sorry.
Okay, Councillor Hardwick, you can call the question, although I imagine it would be faster just to have Councillor Dejanova ask her questions, and then, or about the same amount of time if you just allow her to proceed.
Sure.
Up to you, though. Okay, Councillor Dejanova, up to 5 minutes for debate.
Thanks very much. I wanted to ask a point of information for you to the city manager.
Sure, no problem.
If that's possible, and then, of course, he can direct that appropriately. My question, Mr. Johnston, is to Councillor Hardwick's earlier questions regarding any legal action. I'm trying to be very careful in my wording here. Any legal action or applications that have come against or have been brought against the city, would this allow staff in the appropriate venue to be able to provide us with more information on that matter?
So, City Manager, sorry, I just didn't catch the last part of your question.
I was just wondering if this referral would allow staff to be able to do that, because if it's referred on to public hearing, then I understand in public hearing we couldn't hear more about any legal action being brought against the city.
Yeah, I'll answer that, City Manager. So when we refer it back to staff, I mean, they would be able to use their discretion to answer questions we have on the referral, and also they would suggest the appropriate venue, whether it is in camera or in public. So would you concur with that?
Thanks very much. I do, and I very much support Councillor Hardwick's referral of this back to staff. Appreciate her language and that it's thoughtful. Looking at it here, and as she's been instructed not to put specific language in there, I believe that that's probably why she did not say the venue as to where these questions would need to be answered. But I would hope that those questions would be answered, and I would like to learn more about that before moving forward with referral. So for that reason, I will wholeheartedly support Councillor Hardwick's referral back to staff.
Thank you very much. Councillor Carr, for 5 minutes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I'd like to ask a question to staff, the city manager. Given the discussions that we've heard on this issue up to now in this meeting, and the questions raised by councillors, is there any additional information that you think has not been already given to council in camera briefing and through confidential memos? So, in other words, we have information. Is there any information that we have not received that is relevant to the questions being raised by councillors?
City Manager?
Yes, through the Mayor. To my knowledge, all information that staff have on this project has been conveyed to council previously, and the discussions that have taken place have conveyed all of the information that we have on this issue. There's no new information that I am aware of, Councillor.
Thank you. Then I will not be supporting this referral, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kirby-Young?
Yeah, I have a point of information through you, if I might, to the city manager.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Just following up on Councillor Carr's question, and I apologize for the construction noise in the background. The information you said has previously all been conveyed to council. Has it all been conveyed to this council or to the previous council?
If I might, Mr. Mayor, yes, all
Please
information has been conveyed to this council.
All of it, or some of it at the relevant time?
All of the information that we have on this project relating to the questions that are being asked have been conveyed to this council within the last couple months.
And there was no information provided to the previous council that this council has not received?
The information that was shared with the last council was the same as this council. There's not really any new information on this issue.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any other speakers on the queue, so I'm going to call a vote on the referral motion by Councillor Hardwick. Sorry, I'm just trying to my queue up there. So go ahead, clerks, if you can pull up the voting table.
Point of privilege, Mr. Mayor. I will need a vote assist in favor, please.
Mayor Stewart,
yes?
I just want to, as the clerk, I just want to confirm that the staff report's recommendation was not moved or seconded. So what we would be referring is the staff's report back to staff. I just want to ensure that everyone is clear on that motion.
So we are, right, we're not voting on the recommendations in the staff report. Instead, we're voting on whether or not to refer this back to staff.
And the other question would be, is there any time frame that, or does it come back to council, or are you just simply referring a staff report back to staff?
Right, and my understanding is there would be additional there would be another briefing of some kind on this, whether in camera or in public, and then the referral, as recommended in the staff report, would come back at a different time. That's what we're voting on.
Okay, just so long as everyone is clear. Thank you.
Does anybody have a point of privilege or point of order before I call the vote?
Mr. Mayor, it's Councillor Dominato.
Yes.
On a point of privilege, apologies, my sitter had canceled this morning.
Because
I haven't been part of the discussions up till now, I will simply abstain from this vote since I've just joined the call. Thank you.
Okay, right. So abstain, or we can't mark you as absent. You'd have to vote. You'd have to vote yourself.
Or you can be absent then. Okay, I don't have active voting anyways right now. So.
Okay, so we're going to mark Councillor Dominato as absent, clerk. Is that the proper process?
This is the clerk here. In order for Councillor Dominato to be absent, she would have to be absent and leave the meeting.
I'm sorry, Madam Clerk. And Mr. Mayor, you can just if I get a vote assist as an abstention, simply because I have not been.
That would be proper process, Mayor Stewart.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else with a point of privilege before I call the vote? Okay, so clerks, if you could.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have a point of privilege, but I was on the queue to make a comment before calling the vote.
Okay, I think I can do that. You have, this is the, okay, go ahead, Councillor Kirby-Young. You have 4 minutes left.
Yeah, I think, just a very quick comment. I think that on large projects, if councillors don't feel that they have full information or have questions that remain unanswered, I am a supporter of ensuring that council can make informed decisions. And so for that reason, I think that sometimes a referral in very specific cases is wise to allow councillors to feel that they have their questions fully answered and are able to vote. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, clerks, we are going to call the vote now. If you want to refer this back to staff, you vote yes. If you don't want it referred back to staff, and that means we've returned to the report recommendations to consider those, you vote in opposition. Councillor DeGenova, you wanted to vote assist in favor?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Okay, so where have we got here? So we have the vote in, and that has failed with Councillor Bly, Boyle, Weeb, Swanson, Fry, Carr, and myself in opposition. So Council, this puts us back on, we're in the questions queue still, because we have no motion on the floor. And I have to move us off the main queue. Councillor Hardwick, you have a minute left. I'm just going back to the questions queue. So, Councillor Hardwick, did you have any additional questions on this item?
No, and I've been trying to remove myself unsuccessfully.
I'll remove you now. Thanks, Councillor Boyle. Do you have any questions? Yes, Councillor DeGenova.
Could you please add me to the queue for questions?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
No problem. Councillor Boyle.
I was prepared to move the regional recommendations from staff in the referral language from staff.
Okay. There are 2 other members on the queue, and of course for questions. But you know, Councillor Boyle could cede the floor for that, or those councillors can ask questions through points of information after it's moved. Do we have a seconder for Councillor Boyle's motion to move the recommendation?
So moved, Councillor Blythe.
Okay, we are on the main queue now. Sorry, this is a new main queue, so I'm clearing this. If anybody else now, it's a blank queue. If anybody would like to debate this. Yes, Councillor. Okay, Councillor Dejanova, you have up to 5. It's going to. Just before I start your time, Councillor Dejanova, clerks, I was told yesterday that if I hit reset timers, that button on the panel, it resets all timers. So how do I reset Councillor Dejanova's time on this clock? She has 2:13. That was from a previous round.
I believe this is the clerk here, Mayor Stewart. I believe that's a limitation of the technology.
Okay. I am going to hit reset timers at this point, but I'll try to keep that in mind. Sorry, Councillor Dejanova, up to 5 minutes.
Thanks very much. Mr. Mayor, I really had hoped that we would be able to ask some more questions of staff. It's hard to do so and still be transparent about the fact that if we were to ask those questions, even by email right now, I would expect that all councillors would have those questions. But that being said, it could almost look like quorum, and I'm concerned that this isn't the appropriate venue to ask about legal questions. So another point of information that I have through you to the city manager about this is Councillor Kirby-Younger asked a question about this council having all of the information. And I understand the city manager confirmed, and I agree, that on this project, on this application, they do. I'm just wondering, historically, on the address 601 and the CDI rezoning, but for that specific address, 601 Beach, does this council have all of the information that the previous council had?
I will refer this over to staff for a second just momentarily.
It's about the address.
However, I just want to reflect what the will of council is to this point. This report has come to us. We had a motion to refer this back to staff for more information. This council rejected that referral. Voted, the majority voted in opposition. So now, because there wouldn't be an opportunity, because we voted on it once, there wouldn't be an opportunity to vote this for another referral. And so the question before us is, do we move this application to public hearing or not?
I understand, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like that question answered.
As city manager, as best you can, please.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I feel like I answered the question already, and the answer is yes. The information regarding the procurement and legal matters have been shared, I think, about 2 weeks ago with this council. The last council was more involved in the project and had been involved from the beginning of the procurement, but beyond that, or rather the disposition, beyond that, this council has been briefed and has all of the information.
Is there, city manager, was that, why don't I put it this way? If there is information that was provided a few weeks ago that could be provided again to council, I'm not sure now if we can do that.
Mr. Mayor, that wasn't my question. Could you please stop my timer? That's not my question.
Yes, just a second. Just going to ask the clerks, once this is referred to public hearing, would it be appropriate for the city manager to resend information that has been sent to us previously?
This is the clerk here, Mayor Stewart. Yes, it is. So anything that council receives for a public hearing is also posted publicly, so both the council and the public would have it, unless there was some reason for it to be held in camera under the city charter.
Okay. Councillor Dejanova, please continue with your question.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. My apologies. I just didn't want to run out of time.
That's
and
okay.
I mean, just the way that you've asked that question, Mr. Mayor, could we receive it after we refer it? It's chicken and egg to me. But at the same time, how we receive it is important in that I'm not sure that I would move forward without having that information. So at this time, and although it's not something I traditionally do, I will not be supporting the motion.
Okay, thank you. City Manager?
Well, I was just going to say we would be happy to resend the content of the previous briefing back to Council, if that would be helpful, and we can do that after referral. And if there remain any legal questions that are legal in nature, we can receive them and endeavor to answer them for Council after referral.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. So I don't see anybody else on the debate queue. I'm going to call the
point of privilege, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, yes. Councillor Dominato.
Yes,
I can't access my panel, so if I could be put on the. I just have one quick question. I don't think it'll take long to staff.
We are okay. So it would be point of information, Councillor Dominato. Please go ahead.
Yes, a point of information. Sorry, point of privilege to get on the queue.
No problem.
Just to staff, just to clarify that with this referral report coming forward. Typically, if it's coming forward at this time, then it has satisfied all of our policy frameworks in terms of staff have assessed it against our existing policies, and it meets those policies, and it has prepared in such a way that it is in a state of readiness to go to a public hearing. Is that correct?
That's right. I mean, that that is the requirements that staff, to the best of their ability, assess any application versus our existing city policies to make sure they meet our directive as a council, and then refer it. And City Manager, anything else to add to that?
That's correct, Mr. Mayor. We bring this project forward. We think it's a good project. It achieves many public all of our policies, yeah, I think you're accurate.
Thanks very much, Councillor Dominato. Any other debate?
Thank you. Yeah, okay. That's good.
Okay, thank you. Great. I don't see anybody else on the queue, so I am going to call the vote on this recommendation to refer this 601 Beach to public hearing.
I will take, Mr. Mayor, Councillor Dominato, again, a vote assist in favor.
Thanks very much. If clerks could mark that, and then Councillor Dejanova will also need your vote.
Mr. Mayor, I will abstain.
Okay, clerks, could you mark Councillor Dejanova as abstain? Thank you very much, Council. The vote is completed now, and that has passed with Councillor Hardwick in opposition. Okay, Council, thanks so much. I'm just going to pop back into our agenda here. We're moving into bylaws, and there's a lot of them here, so it's going to take us a little while to get through, so I will start. We have 25 bylaws on the agenda for consideration by Council. Council members who are not present for the meeting related to public hearing enactment bylaws must confirm that they have reviewed the proceedings of the meeting if they wish to vote on the enactment. Bylaw 14 is from the public hearing of October 1st, 2019. Councillor Dejanova and Hardwick were absent from that portion of the public hearing. Councillor Dejanova, have you reviewed the proceedings, and will you be voting on the enactment?
I have and I will, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Hardwick.
I have and I will.
Thank you. Bylaw 15 is from the public hearing of January 17th and subsequently the council meeting on July 29th. Councillor Kirby-Young was absent from that portion of the public hearing. Additionally, Councillors Hardwick and Kirby-Young were absent from the portion of the council meeting. Councillor Hardwick, have you reviewed the proceedings and will you be voting on the enactment?
I have and I will.
Councillor Kirby-Young?
Yes, I have and I will.
Thank you. Bylaw 17 is from the public hearing of November 14th and subsequently the council meeting of November 28th and will require most councils to review council to review in order to be eligible to vote, except for Councillors Carr and Dejanova. Council members, when I call your name, please advise if you have reviewed the proceedings and if you will be voting on the enactment. Councillor Bly. Perhaps you're on mute, Councillor Bly.
I have and I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Boyle?
I have and I will.
Thank you. Councillor Dominato?
I will. Thanks.
Councillor Fry?
Yes, I have. Yes, I will.
Councillor Hardwick?
I have and I will.
Councillor Kirby-Young?
Yes, I have and I will.
Councillor Swanson?
No.
Okay. Councillor Weeb?
I have and I will.
And I have and I will. Moving on to bylaw 18 is from the public hearing of May 17th. Councillors Fry and Swanson were absent from that portion of the public hearing. Councillor Fry, have you reviewed the proceedings and will you be voting on the enactment?
Yes, I have, and yes, I will.
Councillor Swanson?
No.
Okay, bylaw 19 is from the public hearing of July 18th and subsequently the council meeting of July 24th, and require both of those are in 2018. These will require most of council to review in order to be eligible to vote, except for Councillor Carr having attended and Councillor Dejanova having declared conflict. Council members, when I call your name, please advise if you have reviewed the proceeding and if you will be voting on the enactment. Councillor Bly.
I have and I will.
Councillor Boyle.
I have and I will.
Councillor Dominato.
I have and I will.
Councillor Fry.
I have and I will.
Councillor Hardwick.
I have and I will.
Councillor Kirby-Young.
Yes and yes.
Councillor Swanson.
No.
Councillor Weeb.
I have and I will.
And I have as well. Now I'm asking if does any member wish to hold any of the bylaws for debate, separate votes, or for conflict of interest?
Mr. Mayor?
Just one second.
Point of privilege.
Okay, thanks. I do have, yes, Councillor Boyle, I have you on the queue here. Did you have anything to add on either conflict of interest or holding for debate?
No, I think that's a holdover. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. Councillor Dejanova?
Mr. Mayor, I was going to ask you to add me in the queue if I'm the only person on. I just wanted to make sure that it was... Okay, great. If you could please add me in the queue, just wanted to clarify.
You are in the queue and you've...
Okay, I just wanted to clarify, although you mentioned it, Mr. Mayor, I would not be voting on bylaw number 19. As it said, I'm ineligible to vote, but I just wanted to be clear that I will not be voting on that because I declared a conflict of interest at the time. And to be consistent, I will continue on with that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Swanson, did you have anything?
I wanted to hold the 15 and 16 so I could just vote against them to be consistent.
Okay, I will have the clerks help steer me through that because there's a bunch here to do. Councillor Kirby-Young?
I'd like to hold bylaw number 10, please.
Number 10, thank you. Councillor Hardwick?
I was going to hold 10 and 16, so thank you. They've already been held.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So what we're going to do first is the ones that have not been held. I'd like to, perhaps the clerk can help me with bylaws 1 to 25. We have held, did you read the numbers out that we've held, clerks? I didn't take a note of that.
Mayor Stewart, it is the clerk here. We were having a little bit of a difficult time hearing, but we did get that bylaw number 10 and number 16 were to be held.
And councillors, just on point of privilege, was that?
And 15.
And 15.
And 15.
10, 15, 16. Okay, so would someone like to move a motion to adopt bylaws 1 to 25 with the exception of 10, 15, and 16 that have been held?
And 19, Mr. Mayor.
19 is not held. You've just removed yourself for conflict of interest.
There needs to be a separate vote because I'm declaring conflict of interest in that. Thank you.
Is that correct, clerks?
Mayor Stewart, it does not have to be held separately, but we would identify Councillor Dejanova in the minutes as being ineligible to vote due to her conflict of interest.
Okay, thanks very much. Okay, so one more time. someone like to move the motion to adopt bylaws 1 to 25 with the exception of 10, 15 and 16. Thank you, Councillor Dejanova. Seconder?
Mr. Point of procedure, Mr. Mayor, or point of order. Yes. I'd already moved it, and I believe I heard Councillor Fry second after me.
I didn't hear Councillor Fry, sorry. Councillor Fry, did you provide a second the first time through?
Sure.
Okay, great. So, Council, any discussion on this, the larger package that are being moved? I don't see anybody on the queue. Sorry, I'll move this to the main queue here. Okay, so I'm going to call a vote on the ones that were not held, and then I will hold separate votes on 10, 15, 16. So, yeas and nays, all in favor say yay.
Yay. Yay.
Opposed say nay. Thanks very much. This motion carries unanimously, and that is bylaws 1 to 25 with the exception of 10, 15, and 16. I'm going to move to bylaw number 10 now. Clerks, I'm just going to look at my package here. Bylaw number 10 is the a bylaw to amend the Falls Creek Area Development Plan, and that was held, I believe, by Councillor Kirby Young. Right. Okay. So, did you have questions, Councillor Kirby Young? If so, put yourself.
No, I just wanted to do it separate vote, second vote in opposition, please.
Okay. So, can you move? Can you move
the bylaw? Yes, I can. Yes. So moved.
Thank you. Seconder. Right. Thank you. So I'm going to call a recorded vote on bylaw number 10. Clerk, so we can just have the panel up.
Mr. Mayor, it's Councillor Bly. If I can get a vote assist in favor, please.
Okay, in favor, thank you. Councillor Swanson. And Councillor Dejanova, we need your votes. Councillor Dejanova?
In favor. Mr. Mayor, if you could register that for me.
Thank you. I'll have the clerks do that. So, Council, that is passed with Councillor Hardwick and Councillor Kirby Young in opposition. Council, I'm going to move to number 15, bylaw number 15, which is rezoning, CD1 rezoning on Garden Drive and East 10th. And I believe Councillor Swanson held that. So I'm just going to go back. Councillor Swanson, do you have questions?
No.
Could you move the motion, or somebody else move the motion? Move the bylaw. Fry. Thank you, Councillor Fry. We're on the main queue, and we need a seconder.
Boyle.
Thank you. Now we're in the main queue. Any debate, Councillor Swanson?
Nope.
Okay, thanks. Can we call the vote on this one, please, clerks?
Vote assist in favor, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Bly, vote assist in favor. Councillor Dejanova?
In, please, Mr. Mayor, in favor. Thank you.
Vote assist in favor, Councillor Dejanova. Thank you. That is passed with Councillor Swanson and Councillor Hardwick in opposition. The final held bylaw is number 16, and that is a rezoning on 1805 Larch Street. That was held by Councillor Swanson, I think. Councillor Swanson. Do you have any questions to staff?
No, I'm just going to vote against it.
Okay. So can I have a mover for that? Right. Thank you, Councillor. Seconded by Councillor Dejanova. Thank you. Any debate? If not, I'll call the vote.
Vote assist in favor, Councillor Bly, please. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Bly, vote assist in favor. Councillor Dejanova?
In favor.
Okay, clerks, could you mark Councillor Dejanova in favor through vote assist? Thank you. And that is passed with Councillor Swanson and Hardwick in opposition. Thank you, Council. That the approved list of bylaws can be found on the website. Moving to administrative motions, 3 administrative motions on the agenda, but administrative motion 3 was withdrawn by staff as noted in the revised agenda. In terms of the administrative motion regarding 2542 Garden Drive, does any member wish to declare a conflict of interest on this motion? No? Someone like to move the motion, please? I hear Councillor Carr.
Sorry. Yes, I wanted to speak to.
Yes, there'll be an opportunity.
So moved, Councillor Wiebe.
Okay, we have a seconder?
I'll second Councillor Boyle.
Okay, thanks. And now, Councillor Carr, I'll move you to the debate. We're in debate now on this administrative motion on Garden Drive. Councillor Carr, please go ahead, up to 5 minutes.
Great, thank you. Yes, I just did want to put on record the reason why I'm not going to support this, and that is because issues that I raised and were passed by council as an amendment to the recommendations by staff, the points that I raised in that amendment have not been addressed. Those are specifically around reducing the appearance of the upper two floors to emphasize a four-story building base, and to also consult with local residents through the development permit process, noting that it may result in a commensurate reduction in floor area.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else on this matter? Councillor Hardwick, up to 5 minutes, please go ahead.
Yes, I would just like to amplify what Councillor Carr just said. I'm not satisfied that sufficient action has been taken with respect to public consultation and the changes that were promised and directed by council and acknowledged by the Director of Planning in January 19th. I think Councillor Carr has already stated the objections, but I concur.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, City Manager.
I'm not getting any questions on this, but staff are here and happy to respond to those issues if that would be helpful for council.
The only way that could be done is through a point of information at this stage. I do have Councillor Dominato on the queue. Councillor Dominato, we're in the debate phase, but
yes,
are able.
I do. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I do have a point of information, and it was with respect to the points Councillor Carr raised. We received a number of letters with respect to that motion that was passed and concerns that some of the shift around the building hadn't taken place in some dialogue with residents. So I'd appreciate hearing the staff perspective on that and what did take place.
Okay.
Yes.
Point of information, City Manager. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Happy to jump in. Maybe I could get Teresa O'Donnell, who I believe is in the meeting, to speak to that, and the staff.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Thank you, City Manager. This is Teresa O'Donnell, Deputy Director. I also have with me Jason Olenek. And let me just speak to the enhanced public consultation process that we conducted after the council approved the rezoning. We did hold an additional open house at the DP stage. It was held on July 8th at the Croatian Cultural Center. We had about 20 folks in attendance, and we received about 5 comments. We also sent notification postcards. They were mailed to neighboring properties. We sent out 1,160 postcards along with updated site signs. We typically do these as Director of Planning, but we did send it to the DP Board for review and decision. The DP Board was conducted on September 30th, 2019. 6 residents did come out to speak to that application. As a result of that, there were some changes from the staff feedback, and we do have a few images, if you care to view those, that we can show you the revisions that were made to the form of development as a result of that consultation with the public.
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
Councillor Dominato still, I would be interested in seeing that because that was what I recall from that public hearing was the massing and those upper floors. And so I don't know how readily available those images are.
Let's see. I've never done this in a point of information before. It is information. I'm sure visual would be available. Are those able to be shared, clerks?
We're preparing to bring those up for your convenience just now.
Okay. I will, as staff are preparing, Councillor Dominato, I'll stop your timer.
This is the clerk here, Mayor Stewart.
Wants to start it.
We do have to rely on planning to send those because we do not have them here in the chamber.
Okay. Planning department, how do you think that's looking in terms of providing these images to the clerks?
I think we've got them up now. Clerk, can you see our screen?
I can confirm that we have it on the WebEx. We don't have it yet for the public viewing. If it could be, if planning could send it to the clerks, then we can get it up for public viewing.
We're working on that right now. We'll send it over to you. Should be there in a moment.
Council, we could have a recess.
Move to recess?
Okay, sure. If nobody objects, let's. Would 5 minutes be enough, clerks, to kind of make this happen?
That's excuse me, Mayor Stewart. This is the clerk here. Yes, that is sufficient.
Okay, Council, let's come back at 10:36. Thanks very much. see I see nice pictures, or I see pictures. Won't editorialize. I see pictures on the WebEx, but I don't see it on the other screen.
It should just be coming up now, Mayor Stewart.
It's there. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Councillor Dominato. Are you ready for your questions here?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. My question was, the staff mentioned that we could, Ms. Donovan mentioned that we could see the pictures and the difference in terms of the changes, and so I was just wanting to see those. I think that's what we have up on the screen now.
Right. Any questions or explanation from the planners?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll ask Jason Olenek to walk you through these differences. Also, I need to say earlier that this application did go back to the urban design panel for a second time. So I wanted you to have that information too. But I'll turn it over to Jason now.
And you have about 2 minutes, and then but you might have additional questions.
May I proceed? May I just walk you through this real quick?
Please do. Yeah.
Okay. Just to read for you, the height and density does comply with the CD1 bylaw. Through working with the applicant and listening to the community input and input from council, we did reduce it by approximately 1,600 square feet on the upper levels. Just to put that in context, that's equivalent to roughly two two-bedroom units or 3 or 4 one-bedroom units. So the massing was reduced to articulate the 4-story expression. The step backs at the upper level are significant, nearly 20 feet. In addition, the balconies, as you can see between these two images, were reduced to further reduce the appearance of bulk and massing. The top image is the rezoning. The lower image is the development permit application that was seen by the board. Thank you.
Councillor Dominato, do you have anything? You've got about a minute left on your debate portion.
No further questions. No, thank you.
Okay.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Carr, we have you on.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for this. The main question I have is, were the members of the public who were concerned about particularly the massing, were they informed? Do you know if they did eventually receive information about the changes made that after the DP board's hearing?
Yes, Councillor Carr, I can answer that. They were informed. In fact, I've met with these neighbors personally myself, and they were at the DP board meeting.
Okay. So fine. I'm just going to that's it for questions. But Mr. Mayor, I'm just very appreciative of staff coming forward with this information, and I actually apologize for having received information from the public and not at that point questions with staff in advance of this vote. But I'm very appreciative for the information that I've just been supplied, and it does materially change my position in terms of I was intending to vote against this, and I'm now going to vote in favor.
Point of privilege, Mr. Mayor. It's Councillor DeGenova. If I could be added to the queue.
Okay, sure. This is the debate section, but you can ask points of information if you require. Go ahead, DeGenova.
Sorry, I just was happy to say that we're not in a debate section yet?
We are in the debate section, yes, we are.
That's what I had thought. Sorry. That's why I wanted to say that I would be supporting moving forward with the bylaw and appreciate staff doing this. I'm so sorry that they've had to do it again. And I understand that the due diligence that our staff do go through in moving forward with these processes and, taking feedback from council, especially in the quasi-judicial body of public hearing. So just kudos to staff. Thanks very much, and we'll be supporting this.
Thank you. I put myself on the queue. Councillor Fry, could you take over while I add a few comments?
Sure thing, Mayor.
Okay, thanks very much. A couple of things. I found this very illuminating, this portion of the council. So I would like to thank the councillors who held this administrative motion. Often these go by without really, you read them and you don't think about them as much, I guess. But thanks to the councillors for holding this. Thank you very much to staff for all this information, and I hope we can if items are held, we could use these examples. I do think it illuminates for the public just after a rezoning is held how much work goes through the development permitting process and just the additional layers of both consultation that are significant and the ability to change through the DP process. So I've learned a lot through this and just wanted to thank staff for this work, but also for council for doing their diligence. And I got to say, I'm continually impressed by the amount of work that councillors put into going into these reports, asking very, I think, pertinent and relevant questions, and allowing a level of dialogue that, frankly, you don't see on other councils. I mean, I've been studying local government forever, and this is very impressive. So, good work by all. Thanks very much. And Councillor Fry, can I have the chair back?
Over to you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Okay, Council, I don't see anybody else on the queue, so I'll call a vote on this administrative motion. Councillor Bly, do you need a vote assist?
In favor, please.
Thank you. Councillor Dejanova, vote assist?
In favor, please.
In favor? Great. Clerks, thanks very much. That has passed with Councillor Swanson in opposition. Okay, Council, we're going on to, where are we now? We're 10:43. So administrative motion 2 is the approval of form of development on East 22nd Avenue. Does any member wish to declare a conflict of interest on this motion? Councillor Carr, I've got you on the queue here. Is that just a holdover?
Indeed.
Okay, thanks. So somebody like to move this motion?
So moved, Councillor Carr.
Thanks. Seconder?
Kirby Young.
Bly?
Okay, sorry, I got Councillor Kirby Young in there first. So it's moved, and any discussion on this, please put yourself on the queue. If you need assistance, let me know. I don't have anybody on the queue. Okay, so we're just going to do yeas and nays on this one. All in favor of this, say yay.
Yay.
Yay. Yay. Opposed, say nay. Thanks very much. Great. So now we're on adjournment. Somebody like to move a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Hardwick.
Oh, I think I heard Councillor Hardwick there first. So Councillor Dejanova, I heard second. So we'll do yeas and nays.
Yay. Yay.
Yay. Opposed, say nay. Nay. Okay. No nays. This carries unanimously. Thanks very much. This meeting's adjourned. Just a reminder, clerks, we're coming back for the standing committee at 1 p.m. Is that correct?
It is the clerk here, and yes, that is correct.
Great. Thank you very much, and we'll see you at 1 o'clock. Any other? Sorry, did I hear something? Nope. Okay, great. Thanks very much, Council. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, everybody.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.